My girlfriend shared my private pictures with her friends. We have been dating for 8 months. It is a long-distance relationship. We have had a great relationship and she wanted to introduce me to her friends, and we had a Zoom call. She made a joke which hinted that I was well endowed. Her friends laughed and one of them said, "I know." I was extremely uncomfortable. After the call, I talked to her about it, and she said that she had talked to them about it, and I pressed a little, and she convinced that a few of them may have seen a few pictures I had sent her because she had been drunk and got the text at the bar. She said I should get over it, as I have nothing to be embarrassed about, and they were all jealous of her. Makes me want to puke. I just feel bad about myself. I don't want those to be shared. I think I may be insecure about this. I feel like she sees me as a piece of meat rather than her boyfriend. It is breaking my heart. She thinks that it was just one slip up, and I don't know, honestly. I just want to block her. How do I deal with this?
Am I wrong for leaving my mother-in-law's funeral after my husband lied to me? So my mother-in-law, my husband's mom, passed away 2 weeks ago. She lived hours away in her hometown, and we had to drive 6 hours to get there and attend the funeral later. At first, I didn't want to go, and the reason is because of my brother-in-law, Michael. He's my husband's half-brother. Mother-in-law isn't his mom. Michael and I had some issues in the past that I will not elaborate on. I went low contact with him, then full on no contact. I asked my husband if Michael was going to be there, and he said it was a no-brainer since he and mother-in-law had a close relationship. I didn't want to go, and my husband argued about it for hours, then came home later and said that Michael would not be there due to travel issues. He lives in another state. I decided to go with my husband, but later on, I was shocked to see Michael walk up to us with his wife and daughter. I froze in my spot and looked at my husband because he lied about him not coming. I did not confront him because they embraced each other and started crying. His wife was watching as I turned around and walked away. I went to a hotel and stayed there. My husband called right after the funeral and was lashing out, calling me ridiculous and unbearable for pulling the stunt and for walking out of the funeral and leaving him there alone. I said he lied to me about Michael's presence at the funeral and he wasn't alone. Apparently he had his family with him. He got loud saying that I was insane to expect his half-brother to miss the funeral of his stepmother and told me to get a clue. I felt so unsaid that I started crying when he said that I was useless. I packed and went home, but he further argued that I showed no empathy or support by not only walking out of the funeral, but also going home as well. We argued when he came home, and I explained again how he lied to me, but he kept saying that it was illogical to expect Michael not to show up. He told me that I was stuck up and need to get over myself. So, am I wrong for leaving after I felt uncomfortable by Michael's presence? Edit. It doesn't matter what Michael did and what issues we had. A lot of family were calling me harsh for the no contact, but that's a boundary I put, and it should be respected no matter the reason behind it. When Michael first saw me, he looked at his wife and she looked at me like she was watching my reaction. There were kids around and I tried to act as calm as I could. Okay, I did some digging to find out what the reason was that she had this boundary with her brother-in-law, and it's as stupid as you think it is. When her husband's father died, there was a disagreement about who inherits the house. His half-brother got it and her husband didn't want to fight it, but she did. And so that's why she goes no contact with him, because she wanted the house, even though it's not like her place to ask for the house. So with that, do what you want with that information. That's why she's mad at him. There's no, I would give respect to like something like that's a boundary I want to set. Like he did something wrong to me. I get that. But it's about inheritance that wasn't even yours. Your husband wasn't mad about it. Why are you?
Am I the asshole for telling my wife she can't wear her wedding dress to my cousin's wedding and she doesn't have to attend if she does? My wife Amy and I, both 25, got married a few months ago. My cousin Sam is getting married early next year to his fiancée Jane. Amy and Jane don't get along too well. They're fine in family events and stuff, but they don't run in the same circles otherwise. Amy's mentioned before that Jane doesn't want to be a part of their group and she's too shy. Amy saw what Jane's dress looks like from another cousin. I haven't seen it, but it's custom made, white and gold, and she thinks it's too much. The issue now is that Amy's come up with the idea to wear her wedding dress to Sam and Jane's wedding. She said she doesn't have time to go dress shopping and her dress isn't traditional white, it's pink. I said no, she can't wear her wedding dress to someone else's wedding, but she's insisting. Am I the asshole for telling my wife she can't wear her wedding dress to my cousin's wedding and she doesn't have to attend if she does? I told her if she insists on wearing this dress, she doesn't have to attend. Amy got really upset and said I'm trying to control her and her dress should be reused instead of sitting in the closet. This has blown up and I just don't think you should wear your wedding dress to another wedding, regardless of if it's white or not. I don't think I'm the asshole, but Amy is mad. She told her friend and the friend also said I can't tell her if she attends or not. And for those who want to see what the dress looks like, OP on Reddit has posted a similar picture for reference. Make sure to follow for more story times.
My husband's mistress sent me their sex tape. Disclaimer is not my story time, it's not on Instagram. I'm a 34-year-old transitioning woman. My husband is a gay man. He and I met 5 years ago. On our very first date, I was open about wanting to transition, and he was so happy for me. He said that he might even want to transition. Of course, this meant a lot of things for us, but we accepted it. I proposed to him and we got married within 6 months. Our families are very accepting of us and our lifestyle. And about a year ago, we had talked about adopting a child. Not one single part of me thought there was anything wrong with our relationship. Now that I'm transitioning, my body has begun to change. My husband told me that he would be attracted to me no matter what. In fact, he told me that he was starting to become more attracted to me because I was looking more feminine. One day I get home early from work and I notice my husband isn't there. There's a box at the door. It had no label, so I opened it as soon as I saw it. And that's when I see a cell phone. The only thing in the cell phone was a video. I began to play it and I see my husband naked with a woman. Part 2. My husband's mistress sent me their sex tape. Disclaimer's not my story time, I sent them on Instagram. As soon as I play the video, I see my naked husband with a woman. Began pointing the camera to their private parts. Instantly started hyperventilating. My husband is gay. I forced myself to watch the entire video, which was 15 minutes long. It was repulsive. They were spreading whipped cream on each other and this woman farted on him. Apparently my husband liked it. I'm still at the front door watching this video when my husband shows up. He peeks over my shoulder and takes the phone away. He asked me where I got the phone. I said it was sent to the house. That's when he grabs the phone and throws it on the floor and it breaks. Then he told me that the only reason he was sleeping with this woman was so that he could get used to having sex with the woman. Because I'm transitioning. Basically, he's doing it for me. I asked him who the woman was and he said she wasn't important. Then he promised to never see her again. The following day, I get an email from her. She threatened me and told me that only a real woman could keep a man. Then she told me that he's planning on divorcing me. I confronted my husband and he told me that he lied to her. Swears that he loves me and that he won't leave me. Now I feel so insecure. This woman was very attractive. Should I stay with my husband or what?
Story time. I'm in a long distance relationship and I don't know if I should break up with this boy or not. So a little background information. Him and I were best friends for almost a month before we started dating. And literally as soon as we started dating, he started asking me for nudes. And I would be like, no, not tonight, I'm tired. And then he would keep asking me why. And then he would start to make me feel guilty about not wanting to send him nudes. Eventually, he would just say, it's fine, I'll just wait until we can do physical things together. And he still has, quote, his hoes on Snapchat. And he still has all of their nudes and everything. And literally the day before we started dating, he told me that he liked this one girl. And he'll always hang up the phone to talk to her instead of me. And then when I bring it up, he tries to say that So obviously I try and bring this up to him, and he tries to make me feel bad by saying that he thinks about unaliving himself. He also has a few other red flags, like for part 2. Story time. I'm in a long distance relationship with this boy and I don't know if I should break up with him or not. So like I said, he says he always thinks about unaliving himself, so obviously I feel bad for him and I just love him so much that I can't let him go, and he has a bunch of other red flags. Like he'll tell people he's 13 and other people he's 14, and he apparently didn't know his birthday. Well, fast forward, he's been texting me more, and when I told him I loved him, he left me on open, which he never does. He always says it back to me. We still haven't really been talking on the phone, but I did send him pictures. Not fully nude, but both times I sent those, he literally called me right after. But other than that, he will never call me.
I'm at the asshole for letting my wife's daughter be homeless. I married my high school sweetheart after we both had failed marriages. By the time we got married, she had a grown daughter and son. Although I desperately wanted kids, my first wife didn't want them, so I missed out. My wife's first marriage was the man who was a very bad person. He died a few years ago, but they were divorced for almost 10 years before. Due to how he handled money, her son got to go to college on a sports scholarship, but her daughter didn't have the opportunities. Her son and I are fairly close, but the daughter doesn't like me at all, and hasn't spoken to me in 7 to 8 years. We've been married for about that time as well. And she's very rude to me. Recently, she moved in with a boyfriend who is very similar to her late father. Very controlling. She wants out and has been able to find an apartment that she qualifies for, because she doesn't have good credit or a stable job. She's in her late 20s. My wife and I are both retired and have done well. But now my wife is pressuring me to co-sign on an apartment for her. I've been an accountant for a very long time, so I do not like to co-sign for things because I know how it ends up. And my wife is upset that I just won't do it. Daughter never asked me to, and it's all my wife. So I'm an asshole.